Hi, welcome
Hello,
to Entrepreneurial Life with Chantel and Empress Lanice.
Empress. Do, 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 do.
Yes, how are you, Chantel?
I am doing fine. Tired from the week, but I'm fine.
You know what? This week was a very productive week. I am a little tired as well, and I think that's real, right? That's normal. We're not always to be energized as entrepreneurs.
No, we're not.
Yeah, like you hear my voice is a little raspy. You got a
I
little
know.
raspy thing going on right
Got a little
now.
sultriness happening with the voice.
Yes, like my nighttime voice is
Tired sounds good
out.
on you.
Yes, um, but it's so. I'm just thankful that we are here, we are alive, we are
Yes.
productive, and that all is well. We're healthy. So right now I
Yes,
am
Rebecca.
checking to see if we are live on Instagram. So for those that are
Mhm.
watching on Facebook and YouTube, we're also going live on Instagram. So we are working out the kinks.
Yes, we
Um,
are. I'm actually checking for that too. I don't see it yet.
Yeah, so it may take a moment, and you guys may see my private secret screen that I do this on for a moment. I have to get another computer. I just realized, like, oh, yes, I need another computer. So, yes, let me just check to see what's going on. All right, so, yes, we are having a little difficulty with our Instagram. I just realized I need to, well, it logs me out, so I need to re-sign in. Um, so what I think we can do, Chantel, for today, just to try out something different, we can share the Facebook and YouTube link to all of our followers,
Mhm.
um, so that they can tune in and watch there. And we'll do that. We'll send it to them via Instagram as well. Ooh,
Okay.
um, because Instagram does not want to work for me today.
Instagram, I hate us.
Instagram is being a big hater right now. So we're just gonna have to do it from Facebook and YouTube and start, meeting some of our followers here. We
Yes.
haven't been engaging with them.
And we can reshare it on Facebook. I mean, on Instagram later.
That is absolutely
So
true.
I want to do
Um, but I guess we can, officially start the show and just talk about today's topic. So, what is today's topic, and why did you choose that topic for today?
well, today is kind of like a freestyle. It is Women's Month. We had National Women's History Month. I mean, day the other day, but it's Women's Month. So I thought it'd be a great idea for us to come on here and just, talk about the women that have inspired us in our lives. Kind of get the month kicked off with that.
Yes, this question is always a tough question for me. I did not tell you that, and I wanted to save that for when we're live, but I don't know why it's a tough question for me, but sometimes it's very difficult to say like what women or who inspires me or who I would like to be like those type of questions are always difficult. But I think it was always difficult because I always felt like it was me that came up with I want to be in media who wants to be a publicist, but not looking at that there were others that inspired me. And now that I'm thinking about it, there were other women that have inspired me. I just wasn't present to that. I was just always
Right.
thinking like, oh, I came up with this idea. But before I get into some of the women that inspire me, um, who were some of the influential women that inspired you just in general? It doesn't even have to be in entrepreneurship because we could
Excuse me.
get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, of
But
course.
like, who in general inspire you to be Chantel?
Um, I wouldn't say that anyone inspired me to be who I am, like myself, specifically, but I would say that there were many women along my journey that inspired me in different areas or at different times in my life. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, you know, I would start with my mother, like growing up, like she was always very strong, very like, you know, self-reliant, and she did a lot for herself and for her family just to keep things going and to keep things moving. And I never saw her like give up on anything, no matter how hard things got. Like she always kept going. She always kept making a way and just being resourceful. So I get a lot of like my, resourcefulness from her. I get a lot of my like not giving up when things get hard from her as well. So that from my mom was an inspiration to have those um like specific mindsets and just a way of like looking at things. Like it's things get hard, but there's always a way to figure something out. So my
Right.
mom inspired me in that way. Um, as far as entrepreneurship, I would say the person that had the most inspiration that was that I was inspired by the most was my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even like, she's no longer here, unfortunately. That was my boo. That was my road dog.
Yes.
Yes, I was grandma's baby. Just watching her growing up, like even down to like designing and sewing, she did a lot of that. She did a lot of sewing and a lot of creative stuff. And she sold her work. And she would say to me, like, if you're going to sell stuff, like, or do a business, like, charge everybody, you know, don't give stuff away.
That's you
grandma
know
was
what,
grandma
Grandma?
was about her coin. She did not play. She was about that coin. She's like, you charge everybody. Like I never forget one time I had to borrow money from my grandmother for school. She was like, I'm giving you money from my tithes money. She wrote a whole contract out and had me sign
Wow.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
So even though like she didn't um get the chance to really like realize her dreams of having her storefront and all that stuff, like she did bits and pieces of it, and she taught me some things so that I was able to you know I was able to kind of like expand on what she was able to give to me. And now I'm here today. I have a boutique. I've done, fashion and shows and got work published in books and things like that. And she got a chance to see some of that. And she was always very proud of me. And yeah, so I would say when it comes to my career and what I do, like she's definitely like the biggest inspiration for that. And then
Wow.
all the women around me, like you inspire me. I
Yay.
love your drive. I love how you go after what you want, like unapologetically. Like you set your mind on it and it's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Even if it's the 10th thing in that year, like I'm figure out a way to make this happen. So looking
Yes.
at that, then I look at myself and say, I'm not doing too much. Like I see that she's able to handle it, and I know that I'm able to handle it. So I go and I push myself and I do what I got to do. So I'm inspired by you in that way, or I get inspired even by my sisters. I have 1, 2, 3 sisters, and they all have pieces of their personality that I admire, you know, and that I get inspired from as well. Let me shout them out real quick. Shout out China Fox. Hey Shalana,
Ew.
my chocolate baby. And shout out to Yoki. Yes.
Yes.
Yoki is not her original name. I'm putting you on blast, but she was like maybe 7 or 8, and she said that you guys are gonna call me Yoki from now on. And
Oh,
even in school.
wow.
So everyone just called her. We was like, okay. And
Wow.
Chanel, shout out to Chanel, Coco. I miss you, boo. So yeah, all the women in my life in some type of way, and women that I have come across have inspired me. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. And as you were sharing, I started to think about those women around me. So like my family is nothing but women. Like we have men, but the women dominate.
Yes.
And I I forgot about this moment that I had a couple of years ago where when my grandmother passed away, I just started looking at a lot of things that we used to do. And I most definitely regretted of not being with her later years. She had lived right down a block, but I couldn't handle the fact that she had Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's hard to
And
do.
it's like every time I came there, it was like, she really didn't remember who we were.
Yeah.
And to me, it was very hard to see grandma like that. And I also got caught up in like, okay, I gotta work and all this other stuff. Like I just started making all these different excuses and reasons.
Right.
But when she passed, I remembered all the things that she instilled in me because I spent a lot of time with her because of course mama had to go to work and school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of time with grandma, and she's the reason or one of the people of why I'm doing what I do.
Yeah.
And it's like she pretty much prophesied my life. Oh my gosh, I'm about to cry.
It's all right,
um,
real feelings, real experiences and memories. So
yeah,
you're
like
good.
there was this. So I remember when growing up, we would do a lot of creative art stuff. And like like cutting out pictures, doing the gel glitter and all that stuff, and like really just making it nice. Um, but there was one that she did for me. Like she gave each grandchild one,
Mm-hmm.
and she did one for me, and it had my sign,
Mm-hmm.
Gemini. It had my favorite group, TLC. Um, it had like music notes. It had the picture of the piano. Um, it was like so many different elements that was in there that pretty much represented me. And looking at all that I do today, I'm like, Grandma prophesied this to me. I didn't realize how much she instilled in me. And there was like so much music stuff, like creative arts and like all of that stuff in mine, which I now thinking about it now that I got my own place, I'm like, I gotta go get that and
Right?
put that in here. It's in a
I,
bin. I just
I
need
asked
to
my mother that the other
pack
day. I
it.
was like, I need pictures.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, she was most definitely an influential person in my life. Like, if anything, one of the biggest outside of my mom, because she taught me so many things, and we loved arts, we loved music. Um, that was just our thing, and I'm just like, wow, like you, and it shows me that when I start building my family, when I start having kids, that to really be mindful of what I introduce them to,
Mm-hmm.
because you're pretty much prophesying, you're pretty much planning and directing them to their future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
And
planting seeds in them.
yes, and it's no mistake. It's no mistake because the fact that she did this when I probably would say maybe 4 or 5, maybe a little older, and I'm still into these things now, that was no mistake.
Yeah, it absolutely was not,
Yeah,
for
so I
sure.
would say for sure she's one of the most influential people in my life, women in my life. And of course, my mom. I'm a mama's girl. I've always, mom everything, and she instilled a lot into me. She instilled music into me. She also instilled arts. Like I forgot that when my grandmother passed, I had shared this story with everyone at the funeral.
Mhm.
And I also had realized what she instilled in my aunts and uncles, my mom, and how we're seeing it passed down for generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's just like she created or raised strong women, because technically my mom is not her daughter, but she's grandma to me. She's my great
Right.
aunt technically, but she's grandma.
Right.
Um, but she was one of the most influential. And then just whatever she taught my mom introduced me to. Um, and just even now looking at like marriage, my Auntie Rita, I know she's probably gonna watch this a little later. Um, just looking at, her being a mom, raising kids, being a wife, and just like how much, she loved and cared for her family. And just seeing that and even looking at that now as an adult, that's most definitely influential to me of who I'm becoming. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, it's very interesting. I'm glad that we're talking about this because I really wasn't present to that. Because, like I said earlier, it's normally a hard thing, like conversation for me to say. But I think I was just not being present to those
Right.
that are around me. And then, of course, all of you women that are around me as well, who are doing major and
I
great
gotta.
things. And, you guys keep me going, like all of these, conversations that we have, the affirmations, like you guys most definitely keep me going. So I'm most definitely thankful for my tribe and thankful for you all for being a part of my tribe. So I would say, as far as the personal Empress, these are the women that influence me on a day-to-day basis.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
and for those that are watching or will watch a little later, if you're not watching right now, put in the comments right now, like, who are some of the women that influenced you, that inspired you to be who you are today. Like, it doesn't have to be business related. We'll get into that in a bit, but just think about the women that have inspired you to be who you are. Put it in the comment section for Facebook and YouTube, and we're most definitely going to respond to each and every one. So just share that with us. Share who those women are. Um, so Chantel, now that we are business women, and I like what Grandma said, I'm gonna have to be on Grandma level.
Grandma
Like
did not
everybody
play.
gotta pay.
She was like, "I love you, baby, but I'm gonna make a contract because I'm gonna need my
Right?
tithe money back." I was like, "All right, Grandma, I feel you. You
Yes,
got it."
she did good business
She was,
practices.
she was just, man, like she was such a beautiful spirit in general, and she was a beacon of like light in my life. Like she spoke life into me. She just really like guided me to stay on the right path, and I'm like forever grateful for her.
Hmm.
So yeah, grandma didn't play though. She she was straight up too. She tell it to you like it is. No coat, no sugar, nothing.
Yes.
And look at you like, well,
So, what would be
so
the top three things that you can say that you've learned from each of the women? Like some of the top three things
mhm.
that you learned from them that you practice today.
I would say for my mother, definitely resourcefulness. That was like major. I make something out of nothing in a moment. And I think that's a very important like life skill to have, just to know how to figure things out and to make things work when you have to do that.
Hmm.
So that from my mom. Also her just not giving up in life, no matter what's going on in life, no matter what point she was at. Because my mom was a single mom of 5 children that she
Hmm.
raised. And, she started off young having kids, and she just never gave up. She worked and took care of us and went to school. And now she's actually in school right now for her master's. I'm
Yes,
proud of you,
mom.
Mom. So shout out to you, Mama. Yeah, she's getting her master's in psychology now. So she's doing that. And she's just the kind of person, like, she doesn't quit
Hmm.
at anything that she wants to do, no matter how long it's going to take her. I think that's why she stays looking so young, because she
Yes.
because she just takes on life like, you know, this year went by, it didn't happen. The next year went by, it didn't happen. I'm gonna make it happen. And then when she just puts herself into it, and she just works towards making it happen, and then eventually, poof, she made it something
Yes.
happen. So her resourcefulness and her drive, and just her willingness to like never like to not give up on herself, most definitely. From my grandmother, I would say the top three things that I took from her was just the way that she like looked at life. Like she she had this mentality, like, when things happen, she didn't just fall apart. It was like, okay, this happened, but we're gonna not stay in this space, and we're gonna figure it out.
Hmm.
you know and I really love that about her, because doing things like understanding that, and remembering that at times when I need to remember that, has really helped me to not allow myself to stay in a space that wasn't a good space for too long mentally, especially if I'm, you know, everybody's just doing life. When you go hard enough and you stay in that space, it makes it harder to do life. So I always admired that about her. Definitely her creativity. She was super creative. Like, she used to make cup candy and ice cream and like everything, furniture, decor, bathroom decor, dolls. Like, she made everything, and she showed me how to do that as well. So just having that skill and learning it from her from young, like, I was a kid making things and selling them to people. I would make jewelry and sell it in elementary school. I would make doll clothes and sell it on my block. Like, grandma put that little entrepreneur inside of me. So
Yes.
that was something that I most definitely um, took from her. And then I will also say her faith. She always had such a strong sense of faith that things were gonna work out, no matter what
Hmm.
it looked like. And you're gonna always be moving on to the next chapter, and things are gonna work out. Like, she just always had a lot of faith with how she like went about life, and just
Mm.
believing that were gonna be good. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's most definitely amazing. And I think that's most definitely important to have those different qualities, because I
Oh
was
yeah.
thinking about, because I was like, okay, now that I asked you that question, what is that for me? And I was really thinking, like, okay, from my mom, is most definitely this like strength. Like, she's like superwoman. She she makes it happen. She finds a way. Like, she is so determined. Um, and I get that from her. And it's so silly, because when I was younger, maybe like a few years ago, she would always be like, "You got this from me." I'm like, "No, I got this from me. What are you talking about?" But really thinking about it, I most definitely did get it from her. As far as
She said
just
it on
never
camera.
giving up. Yes, never. It's like she just has this strength and this determination to make it happen. It's like she has to prove right? That it can be done. So like you never want to tell my mom it can't be done. Like if you tell her that,
Sure.
she will
Show you.
show you that it can be done. And
Yes.
that's what I love about her. And I would say from my grandmother, it would most definitely be the creative aspect of her, because she was always creating. She's taught me how to sew. She taught me how to like draw, um, like just create things, like really creating different things. Um, so if you ever see me in that space of just creating, like actually doing hand, what you call it, arts and craft, I would say that's my grandmother. But it's like it sparks my brain when I'm in that space. Like my brain goes into it just starts making magic, and
Yeah. Creative
I
juices
love
flow.
that. Yeah, and I love that aspect about her because it allows me to just be free, to not worry about anything. Like when I'm in that creative mode, I'm not worried about anything. I'm just in that zone, I'm in that space. And I think that for any human being, we need to be in that space of creativity at all times. And I will say, I will say, hmm, interesting. So I'm
What's it?
thinking of a,
You having a
I was,
little conversation there in your mind by yourself.
I'm most definitely, you can see that happening, right? You can most definitely see
Yeah.
that happening. So I was just like,
Oh gosh.
you know, I didn't mention them the first time, but um, my cousins Ruby and Jamia, they were, my favorite cousins. I don't think they knew that, but they were. So I know Jamia
They
probably
know
watched
now.
this later, and Ruby probably catch this too. But they were most definitely my favorite cousins, and they like Ruby was more of the flirtatious ones with with the guys and stuff like that. So like I'm looking at because that's a part of us as females, our femininity, right? That being
Hmm.
flirtatious and being cool, sexy, and all of that stuff. And I most definitely watched how she would like handle the boys and stuff like that. Not to put you on blast, but this is
She
what I
like, you telling
remember.
all my business.
This is what I remember. She's married now, and she got her kids and her family. So, but just seeing, how she interacted, and it was just this. There was power in that, of just being able to be who you are as a woman, and being able to be sexy, cool, and still be like one of the homies. And then as far as my cousin Jamia, like I used to be in sports too. So like she also had me like into sports. She was playing basketball. So like they brought like different elements to me. And I really don't get present to that often of like all these women that's around me, but they most definitely brought that side to me. So the third thing I wanted to say is just, I guess they gave me the talents of being a woman, of being, athletic, just different talents. And I think that's why I'm the way I am, because I had so many influential women in my life that did different things that I was into. So they gave me the gift of talent, of
Hmm.
love, of joy, happiness, um, and just really understanding the power of being a woman. That's actually the third one. That's the talent, the power of being a woman.
I can definitely relate, and I didn't mention either was my godmother.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely played that role for me. She was very much, she didn't at the time, she didn't have children of herself when I was with her, and I spent a lot of time with her too. And
Mm-hmm.
she came from a family of like mostly women. She had about two brothers, one passed, one was alive, but majority of the family were women, and they were all, strong, but very feminine and sexy, and just like my godmother, she was about her business. you know, and she really just marched to like the beat of her own drum, and she didn't really take any mess from no man. Like she was she like she was definitely an independent woman for sure, you know. And just watching that definitely, I definitely took bits and pieces from that. Like every time I was with her, she was very big on my academics and making sure that she was like, you can't just be pretty, like you got to make sure you work on your brain too. Like
Yeah.
she was just really big on being like a well-rounded woman, and she was also very feminine at the same time with it, and soft. And so I got to see different dynamics. Growing up, my mom didn't really possess those qualities because she was very focused on raising her kids and doing what she needed to do. So I saw the tough and the hard side of a woman. And then when I was with my godmother, I saw like the softness of a woman who was also very independent as well. But yeah, I took pieces from from her as well, for sure, most definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So now let's get into business. We talking about being about our business. So like who were some of the influential women that inspired you to become a business owner or become a fashion designer or entrepreneur and all the different things that you do? Like who are some of the women that influenced you, whether they're celebrity or people that you know?
um I wouldn't say there were any like celebrity women that, hmm. I mean, when I first started out, I didn't really follow um any like celebrity women, or even women designers. I didn't really follow um their careers as far as like what they did and say, I want to do what they're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say this, while I was like interning and in school, I met women that were inspirational to me, and that inspired my career, and that kind of helped to still be able to say this is the field that I want to be in. And one person in particular, I never forgot her name, Sari Rees. She was the um, marketing or account manager at this company called Signature Apparel, and they also work with Rockaware. So at the time, I was interning at Rockaware, and I was interning at Signature Apparel, and she was just she was this tall, beautiful woman, and she was very smart, and she was always on the go. And she was like, we're a woman, but in this business, like when it's time to be on, you have to be on regardless of what. Like I never forgot that. She's like, you got to be on. And she never asked me if I knew how to do something. She would just be like, okay, you're doing this today. You're going to call this magazine company, and you're going to tell them this, and you're going to set this appointment up. And she just believed that whatever she asked me to do, that I could definitely do. And she would give me like the biggest jobs possible, I felt, to do. And, I would execute it. And I really admired that, because I'm like, sometimes people, they might look at someone else and say that, and see that they're capable of doing something more than they think that they could do.
Mm-hmm.
And so they give them challenges to meet because they know that they're capable of doing that. And at the time, like, I didn't really have anyone in my life or around me that like understood what I was doing or really like encouraged me or like believed in me at that time. So, that was like big for me. I was like, wow, this person doesn't know me, but she trusts me to do so many like big jobs. And I never forget,
Mm-hmm.
I was setting up a showroom for a meeting with Sierra's stylist at the time. And she came and I set it up and she loved it. And whenever I do the show, like set up for the presentations in the meeting, like they would love it. So she loved it. And we were chatting and she was like, oh, are you a stylist as well? And I was like, no, I'm just an intern. And Sari heard me say that. And later on, she pulled me to the side and she was like, don't ever say that. Like, you're not just an intern. Like, you're more than an intern, And
Wow.
I never forgot those words ever, you know?
Wow.
That makes me a little emotional.
Aw.
But yeah, because when you're in that space and even having like lack of belief in yourself at that time, and then, you're just trying to like do and to make it and to, figure it out. And then you have someone who's watching and they see and they remind you that, no, you can do more than you think that you can do, or you're doing more than you think that you're doing. You're making an
Mm-hmm.
impact, like you're talented. You don't see it yet, but you are. So that was definitely a big impact in my life, in my career life. And that was just something that I never um, forgot. And I just carried it on with me in my career. And, it just allowed me not to put myself into a box of whatever it is that I was doing at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and to really look at the fact that, you're definitely capable of doing this. Like, you're talented, you have gifts, and don't sell yourself short.
Right.
So I would say definitely she was definitely a big inspiration to me in that way. Um, but as far as like anyone else in the industry that I looked up to, um, there weren't too many. I would say I really liked I really followed like Diane von Furstenberg and Carolina Herrera. Like, I just love classic designs and like the Tracy Reese, with how she does her sportswear and her design, and she's a Black woman as well. So, those were people that I kind of like looked at that were women in the industry that, I could say like, okay, like they're doing it and I like how they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had to figure out my way of doing it. But those were some of the women that careers that I looked at.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yes.
How about you?
Um,
Who inspired you in your career? Who did you look up to? Um, you know, out there in the
so
PR streets.
you know what? It's so interesting, and this might be a defining moment for me. I'm not sure. Um, but I really didn't have any like PR publicists that I looked up to. Like, I knew everything about them, right? So this is going to be
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Of course, growing up, I watched a lot of TV, watched a lot of movies and all that stuff. Um, and what I always wanted to be, because I haven't really stepped into that person, but you know what? Starting today, I might be that. What I always loved about the women that I see, even though it was characters that were portrayed in movies and television, is that the women was always bossed up, right?
Oh yeah,
For
that's
at
my
least the
favorite.
movies that I've seen. And they would, wear their dress or wear their, pencil skirts and stuff. Like, they had a certain look, their heels, hair was done, nails were done, like all of that was done. And when they stepped in the room, is like everything lit up. And they were very, stern and clear of what it is that they wanted. And I've always admired characters like that. I've always wanted to be like that. And I still do, you know, I still do. I want when I step in the room, people acknowledge me as well as respect what it is that I'm doing and not looking at me only as a woman, but someone that is handling their business.
Oh yeah.
And so that is what I can say is what the characters that I admire. And I know there's plenty of women that's out there. I personally just can't think of their names. But what I can say is that one of, and it's so interesting because growing up, these two women inspired me. And it's so interesting that today they're in so much controversy. And one is Oprah Winfrey.
I knew you was gonna say that. I was waiting for you to say Oprah because I remember the Oprah and the Puff Daddy
Yes.
mixture.
Yes. And that's why I was always like, it's a little hard because I'm like, I have men that I can say I look up to, but I think it's because
Same
the way
here.
that I grew up, I was always like, you always did see the men in the forefront. You rarely saw the women in the forefront until today. So that's why I like saying growing up of the women that inspired me, it was always the men that I saw. But I say Oprah, and actually I started saying Oprah pretty recent, like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I started saying that. I mean, I enjoyed the content that she put out when growing up, but I really started to understand all the things that she created and and all the things that she went through to get to where she is today. I think that's a powerful and amazing story. And I love how she was just so dedicated to her art and that she does television, talk shows, now, reality shows, and then even films and stuff like that. I love that aspect, and that's the direction that I want to go. And she created this whole multimedia because then she also has the magazine.
The old magazine,
And and I've always looked up to those things. Like I was
Pro
always,
Productions.
exactly. And I admire that she created a multimedia platform. Now, the second person that I admire, and that was also kind of new too, but Ellen DeGeneres. And that's why I said these two women have controversy. And the reason why I look up to Ellen DeGeneres is because, at least of what she portrayed, because I don't know if it's true or not of what was talked about, but she was very kind and giving.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I admire about her, is that she's kind and giving. She looks for people's hearts. And like I said, that is what I saw portrayed when she did her shows. I don't know her personally, but that was what I saw, and I just thought that was amazing of how she's changing people's lives and giving people an opportunity even to be on her show. Like we have a lot of people that became famous just from coming on her show, and that's just because they were being who they are and sharing their talent. And she thought like their talent was amazing. Like I really didn't see any, for the most part, didn't really see any like normal people that she brought on that was like she brought on to just expose, right? Like no, because it's like they went viral. It's like they went viral for good reasons, viral for good talents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yes.
what I loved about what she did. So those were like the two women that I say that's in media that inspired me. And I can say now today, because I've been doing a lot of research and watching all these different documentaries now that I have time to do some of this stuff while I'm working. Um, I would say, as far as like writing now, creative writing, Toni Morrison. Like I watched her documentary, and even though I
Yes.
knew about her,
Yep.
I I knew about her, but I was very ignorant. I really did not like take seriously of all of these women and black women especially that was just doing amazing things. Like now I'm really like researching and understand and just hearing
Right.
her story.
And you know what?
I think it's amazing.
That's kind of something that we have to do on our own still, even to this day, because it's just not highlighted enough, you know, even now. I mean, it's better than it was, you know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but you know, it's just we have to do our research and our due diligence and really look up these women that look like us and that are doing some amazing things in our industries, you know.
Right. Absolutely. Because like all for the example of Toni Morrison, all the things that she did, as far as like there was one thing that she said in her documentary that I was just like, whoa. It was during they were protesting, and she said, I don't want to go march, right? It is like, I don't want to go march. There has to be another way that I can make an impact. And she chose to use her words. She chose to be a journalist and write about it, and tell the stories. And, I often look at like, how can I participate, especially in times today? How can I participate without me having to do the march? What other ways can I do that? And when I saw that documentary in that moment, it just showed me that you can utilize your talents to make a statement.
Yeah.
Everyone has a role. There's going to be people that's going to march. There's people that's going to be at the forefront and really fight. There's going to be people that's going to be in politics fighting. There's going to be people that's in journalism, photography,
Yep.
film. Because like if you even just talk about Spike Lee, of all the things that he addressed, even though we're talking about women, but like everybody had their lane of addressing our stories and what we're going through.
Yes.
And I appreciated of what she said, and just even her books of just sharing her experiences. I just think that was amazing. She's just like, she was really a powerful woman in what she did. And I really wish that when I was younger, I paid more attention, because her name was most definitely in my ear. Most definitely. I know that for a fact. But
Excuse me.
I I just think that there's so many women out there that's making power moves. And that is something that I want to do. And not power moves just for the fame, like to really just make an impact in people's lives.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and just to show everyone that we can do it, that anything is possible, and being mindful of what you do, what you speak forth in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what I will do is dedicate to learn about different Black women from the past, present, and the future, because we have futures already, making an impact. I forgot her name, but she's in Mixed Dish. I mean, not Mixed Dish. I think she is in Mixed Dish too, but Blackish. She plays one of the I
I
forgot
know
her
who you're talking
name,
about.
but
I think her last name's Shahidi. I
she's
forgot it.
making
I
an
forgot her name
impact.
too. Yeah.
They're like the youth are louder than us right now.
Hmm.
And it's crazy because we were the youth at one point.
But you
But
know what? We're all playing a part in history in some type of way.
mhm,
Even with what you're doing and what we're doing, even if it's not publicized on a larger scale, you are making impacts in people's lives by what you're doing today. So you're a part of history as well. We're a part of history.
yes,
You know,
yes,
it might not be on such a big scale where everyone is seeing it and it's visible, but we're definitely um, making our mark. You know,
yes,
but that, yeah, definitely it's important to just kind of figure out like what type of legacy you want to leave behind. You know,
yes.
what do you want to be said about you in history, you know?
Well, have you
So
thought about that for yourself?
I have. I have. I think about what I want my daughter to say about me. She's very vocal now, and she tells me I'm like the best mom. So that feels
Aww.
that feels great, you know. And I don't intentionally live a life to say, I want to make someone. No, let me take that back because actually I do. I do intentionally want to make a positive impact on people just in general with how I use, you know, my resources and different platforms and just how I do life in general, you know. Um, I'm in my personal life, I pretty much march to the beat of my own drum, you know,
Hmm.
and in my career too. I mean, there's a lot of things that I get into and I dibble and dabble into, and I just want to leave a legacy of, she did the things that she wanted to do and lived a full life and, exuded just positivity and um, empowerment. And I just hope to really just empower other people by what I'm doing, especially when it
Hmm.
comes to how people think about themselves, how they think about how they look, So every day I am growing myself and steering myself in a direction um, and taking those steps to make that type of an impact. I want people to look at themselves and be accepting of who they are and
Hmm.
to also look good and dress well doing it. So
Ew.
that's why I be like, you custom made, boo. Y'all custom made. So yeah, I'm on
Yes.
my way. I'm taking those steps. And that's definitely the legacy that I want to leave behind someday when I'm 100 years old.
Wow. Right. And it's like I think about that as well, as far as like, being able to see generations of generations. So being at 100 years old and just seeing the impact and the growth. And I think for those that have been able to live around that long, it's so amazing,
Yes.
that you
Oh my God,
can,
the stories.
yes, it's like you've seen life change so many times.
Right? I love talking to the elders who, have their mind and they're still able to like recount like different eras in time and they can like I love it. I would sit there and talk to an old person all day. Like tell me
Yes.
more.
Yes, I think that's so amazing. And, you know, what I look forward to leaving behind the legacy is motivating and empowering people, really empowering people that anything is possible, that there's no limitation, there's
Mhm.
nothing that stops us but us,
Mhm.
and that once you put your mind to it and you start taking actions, everything will be achieved. And that is the legacy I want to leave behind, of that there's people in the world that believes in themselves and believe in what it is that they want to achieve and actually see it come into fruition. That is the legacy I want people to have, and I want that to be passed down from generation to generation,
Mm-hmm.
because that means we will not lack, because we know that we can
No.
create our own money, we can create whatever it is that we think of.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think that is so powerful for us to be able to do that. And I'm truly, truly, truly thankful for all of you guys, because y'all constantly remind me of that. Because there's times where I'd be like, it's impossible, it can't happen. And then y'all remind me, like how you said earlier, like I'm unapologetically, you know, and when you said that, that hit me. I'm like, am I? And then I
Yeah.
think of what others have said, and I'm like, this is how you guys view me. So this is so, like, this is who I am. And it's like a constant reminder to continue to be that person, because my
Yes.
ultimate legacy is to remind everyone that you can be and do anything that you want. And I don't think I shared this story with you, Chantel. Maybe a couple of weeks ago, someone had called me. I think you were tagged in this post too, but um, Sherry Glover,
Sherry.
Sherry Glover.
Yes, I spoke to her.
She, and I'm
Oh my
assuming we're
gosh.
both doing the same thing.
Yes, we
And
are.
but her story inspired me, because I didn't even know that this is what she was dealing with.
Same.
And
Same.
um, she was like, there was a moment, because she wasn't the best walker in the fashion show that we were doing,
Yeah.
and I do remember that. And she reminded me of what I said to her, and she was like, I was ready to quit, but you told me, do not lose on an opportunity to go ahead and do it, like make it happen. And I remember us working with her to make sure that she was able to walk on that day,
Yep.
and she killed it.
I
And
remember too. Yeah.
I didn't know that those words that I said to her made an impact on her life. And it it reminded me of who I was, because I didn't give up on people. I really didn't. I really fought hard, and I think that's why later I got like trained, because I really fought hard for people. Like
Mm-hmm.
every single person I stepped in my space, I fought hard, and I used to question that a lot, of why am I fighting so hard? You know, this is their life. I'm getting drained. I'm getting tired. This is so much energy.
I
And
can
to,
I can most definitely relate to that.
yeah, and to hear her say that, because I fought for her to keep going. I wasn't one of those producers that said, okay, you can't walk, so you got to be out. I was like, no, you just need to practice.
Hmm.
Keep going.
And that's the thing.
And
Sometimes you see something in someone that they might not see in themselves.
mhm,
So maybe that's your reason for not giving up on people because of what
yeah,
you see in them.
yeah. And I'm learning right now to accept that. And because you just never know. Like she showed me that you never know who you're making an impact on, because her
Yep.
life was able to change because of those words.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I'm really getting present to just keep empowering people, even if they're
Mhm.
fighting me about it, even if they're like, no, I don't want to. I will still fight for them. And it's not going to be in the sense of like, I'm going to like beat them up or anything like that. But if it's something that they truly want to do, and if I see that they're giving up because of a hurdle or of a challenge, I'm going to fight for them to succeed.
Mhm.
And just like Sherry Glover's story really, because I had no idea. It's been how many years since we had that show? I think 5 years.
Mhm.
And I had no idea that I made an impact in her life like that. At all. I didn't even know that I was even someone on her brain. And she tells me, like, she tells everyone when she talks about her modeling journey, she always bring me up, and I'm just like, wow. Wow.
Listen, you'd be surprised. Um, and I could say anytime I have an experience like that, like if someone reaches out to me or they send me a DM that I've worked with and they tell me something like that, and you know, I don't really, I didn't used to like really look at that and pay attention to that because I used to be so hard on myself. So um, I wasn't looking at the fact that I was making an impact on someone else. I was just doing my
Mhm.
best and trying to keep someone else motivated and empowered. So when you hear that back, it's definitely it's a great feeling. It's definitely
Yeah.
rewarding to see that that person kept those positive words that you gave to them or that
Yeah.
action and use that as a force to keep going and to make something happen, you know, um, it's just an amazing thing in itself, and it's a gift in itself to be able to
Yeah.
do that for someone else.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
because of that story, that is why the L spot is coming back in motion because one
I'm
day
excited.
I'm going to have somebody has to do a documentary for me. I don't want to do it myself. I want somebody to do it. Um, but with just it's been 8, 9 years since I've been doing the L spot, and just even doing what I'm doing today, and all the stories where people say, you were my first show, you were my first magazine, you were my first blog post, you were my first media coverage, you were my first whatever that was for them.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them grow and progress the way that they are, and that was just because of me believing like that. I really went hard. I
Mm-hmm.
went hard for every person that you've seen on the L Spot show, every person that you've seen in the magazine, every person that you've ever seen me interview. I went hard, and even every person that I did public relations for, I went hard for them. And
Yep.
I'm just thankful for this moment for God to show me that all that work that was done was not in vain. If anything, I'm
Absolutely.
much wiser now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it's a whole
Thank,
new ball game.
thank God for for experiences and all of that.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. I'm happy we brought this up. I'm thankful that you brought this up because it needs to be a constant reminder of what we are doing in our daily lives. We may not be
Absolutely.
famous. We may not
Absolutely.
have, millions of followers yet. Um, but it's not about that. It's about the individuals that we are able to reach
Mm-hmm.
and that we are able to impact, because that means they're impacting others. If we can teach one, they'll teach one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I just think that it's most definitely an amazing place to be in.
It is. It definitely is. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for all the women that I've been blessed to cross my path on this journey. And the ones who've impacted my life and the ones whose lives I've impacted. And, you know, just all the women out there just doing it on whatever scale that you're doing it. You know, I'm sure there's a bunch of women out there making, um, you know, doing some major things, and it's just not publicized. But I'm proud of you, and keep going. You're impacting someone's life in a major way, whether you feel it or not, you are. So keep doing what you're doing, you know?
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
And
So
you
we
keep
out.
doing what you're doing too. You are
Thank
impacting
you.
lives. You're making people look
Yes.
good and feel good.
Yes, that's the
Um,
goal.
and I'm most definitely proud of you and seeing your growth. And I feel like you're most
Thank
definitely
you.
coming out of your shell.
Oh, I have a lot.
Yes. So we want to see a whole lot more.
Definitely. You
A
will
whole
for
lot more.
sure.
Yes,
Yes.
we will. We absolutely will, because we're going to keep you busy. All right?
I'm already busy. No, no. But yeah, for sure, definitely. So yeah.
Yeah, so I want to just, let everyone know, whoever is watching right now, whoever's watching later, to just share with us of, some of the people that have impacted your lives. What is the legacy that you're going to leave behind? Most definitely share with us. And let's keep empowering each other. Let's keep on growing
Yes.
together. And
Absolutely.
wherever you at in your life, in your business, in your career, whatever it is that you're doing, just know that it's no mistake, and everything happens for a reason, and that it is in God's plan. And if you don't believe in God, it is in universe plan. And that's because we believe that we think it, we created it, and we're most definitely the creator of our lives. And that's why it's very important for us to be mindful of what it is that we do and what it is that we want to achieve, and just understand that everything is in divine timing. So I just want to thank you all for watching. I know it's like our third time on a Friday. We used to, at least for me, I used to hang out and
I
turn
got
up.
sewing to do. I know bedtime for me. That has been my song for the last few shows. Empress be like, "Yeah, we going on bedtime." I'm like, "No, not me."
But I'm gonna hit her up and she's gonna be knocked out right after. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, she got work to do. She got
I
people
wish.
to dress.
Oh gosh, you don't know how bad I wish, especially today. But yeah,
Yes.
it is what
This
it is.
sweater you're wearing, who is it by? Is it by
Oh
you?
yes. This sweater is actually available in my boutique. It's a shimmer fringe sweater. I'm gonna stand up a little bit so you guys, let me kind of back this up some so you can actually see.
Gotta
Hold
back
on,
it up.
I got a couple of things going on. Don't judge my pants. I got on sweats. But yeah, this sweater is from my boutique. I love this sweater. I have it in pink. It's called it's a shimmer fringe sweater. Super comfortable and cute and light. I'm gonna be bringing this into the springtime with some denim and some cute heels, because it's actually
Yes.
really light. It looks like a lot of sweater, but it's really not a lot of sweater. It's just very shaggy, you know. And it's
Mm.
cute. It's on the boutique. It's on sale right now for $30, I believe. And it's from size small to extra large. So go ahead and
Awesome.
shop, 25% off. And it comes in pink.
25. It comes in pink
Yes.
as well. So you have
It comes
green.
in pink, green and pink. Got this little,
Awesome.
I'm a
And you
fringe
said,
girl. I love fringe. Like,
you know what you do? Because I remember I
yes.
have some of your pieces, and a lot of them are fringe.
I love fringe. I love like good sleeves. Some of my new stuff I'm gonna shoot. I'm not gonna show it now because I'm gonna shoot it. But some of my new couture stuff like has really like a good sleeve on it. some fringe going on here or here. I love it. It's fun. Life without fringe is
Awesome.
just like who wants to do that?
Yes, and as you can see, we're trying out some new features here. So you can see shopshannonshannon.com.
Oh,
Ooh,
thank you.
ooh.
Look at that. That looks
Yes.
pretty awesome. Yes, take advantage of the
Yes.
25% off, guys, on
Yes.
shannonshannon.com.
Yes.
What do you have going on before we close out?
What do I have going on? Well, right now it's really getting this whole production. So everyone follow the L Spot online on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're not doing it already, we are coming back strong with some new content. We're gathering that all together
I'm
right now.
excited.
Yes, and our show is the first show that's like featured on the L Spot. So I'm excited that this is our start, and it's pretty much going to be a network. So
Yes,
we have more shows and
it is a
creations
network,
film.
y'all.
Yes,
I
we're
feel like it's
taking
my
over.
baby too,
It is your
because I
baby.
believe in it so much, and I just see the vision of it. So I'm like, yay, let's do
Yes.
it. But
You've been
yeah,
around for a long time, so you most definitely seen all the things that we've done, gone
yes, I
through.
have.
So I'm most definitely thankful for that and for your support. But yeah, so that's what I have going on. Of course, I have my PR company, Empress Lanice Public Relations Agency. And of course, I am taking new clients. I do website design, I do media relations, social media management, as well as content creation. So if you need any of those things, reach out to me. You can go to elpragency.net to book a consultation so we can talk about what it is that you need. And let's make some magic happen. Like, I'm in the creative space, so take advantage of me right now,
Yes.
because we making some magic. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, go to elpragency.net. You see it right below on the screen. But yes, so Chantel, is there? I guess is it a wrap?
We're gonna wrap it up. Yeah, we wrapping this up.
Chantel is like, I have
um,
work to do.
yeah.
I'm a little
So
tired. But this is real. I'm glad that we're actually not
yes.
trying to be perfect on this,
No.
because this is the life when we want to be entrepreneurs. We also want to share and create content with you all and create a space where we can talk about it. So this is real. Like, we're not perfect.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are perfectly imperfect.
Yes. And we
I mean,
look good doing it.
yes, you got to. That's the least we could bring to the table. No, I'm just like, but we bring a lot more than that to the table than just our
Yes, we
gorgeous
do.
and our fabulous
Absolutely.
outfits.
Yes.
But yeah, so thank you everybody for tuning in to the Entrepreneurial Life with Chantel and Empress. We are super grateful to have you on watching this with us. And tune in next week. We're going to be we're going to be celebrating Women's Month for the rest of the month. And we have guest Davita D coming on with us. She's a comedian and radio host. So she's going to be on with us next Friday. So do not miss it. And we definitely got to make sure we drink our Red Bulls and all that and have energy, because she's energetic and
Yes.
she gonna have us laughing for sure. So I cannot wait for that. So yeah, definitely tune in next Friday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome.
PM, 9:30 p.m.
And what I want to add is, if you want to be a guest, or if you know anybody that you want to invite or see on the show, email info@theelspotonline.com. Tell us about that person. Of course, send their contact information. And if it's yourself, give us as much detail as possible. We are looking to invite others in this conversation. So
Yes.
most definitely, let us know who we should have next on the show. Hey,
Yes,
hey.
definitely. And also, if you have ideas for topics that you want us to talk about, send that to us as well.
Yes, yes. And you can email info at the lspotonline.com. Right there.
Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all next Friday.
Awesome. Good night, guys.
Bye.